Welcome back to Olfactofiles. I'm Tara, and today we're going to talk about fragrances for my favorite season of the year, and that is fall, of course. And I have my top 10 plus 2 honorable mentions because I can't just pick 10, and even 12 is unrealistic because fall and winter types of fragrances are my favorite of all. I like these more like heavy, rich, thick types of scents that are very cozy, lots of, maybe gourmand touches to them, woodsy touches to them. So this time of year is my favorite in terms of fragrances that I would reach for, although some of these I would wear any time of year as well. But anyway, let's go ahead and get started with the list. My first honorable mention is from Diptyque, and it is Volutes. This is one that was created by Fabrice Pellegrin, and it's one of a few fragrances on this list that will feature the note of tobacco. So this one is like a sort of honeyed, cinnamony type of tobacco. There's also a detectable note of iris, sort of like a buttery kind of iris in here, I would say. I love this combination. And it's a little bit different from a lot of the tobacco scents that are out there because you see like a lot of honey tobacco, which, I think this has the honey tobacco thing to it, but it's like usually quite sweet and like vanillic, and I like that too. But I like that this has some other things going on for it that makes it just a touch spicy, and like I said, kind of like this, buttery, waxy sort of iris that's in here as well to give it just a unique take on a tobacco scent. So that's my first honorable mention, and it is Volutes. Next up is one from Carner, Barcelona, and this is Tardes. This is one of my favorite almond scents, and again, this is still just an honorable mention, but might as well be on the list. So this one I think is really perfect for fall. It has this beautiful, so it's almond, but it has this beautiful fluffy heliotrope note in it. Tonka that makes it just like little touch spicy. There's some musk in here. And it has like a woodsy quality to it as well. This is a light fragrance, not like in that it doesn't, like project or anything, but it has this airy, like I said, airy, fluffy quality to it that I think is particularly good in the early stages of fall. I think it could get lost as it starts to get colder. But I would say, oh, it smells so good. Like those 60 to 70 degree days would be perfect for Tardes. So that is Carner, Barcelona's Tardes. It's Daniela Andre creation. And if you're looking for a great almond scent, check this one out. All right, so number 10 on the list is one that definitely is worn by a lot of men, but I believe it's fully unisex and I enjoy wearing it myself. This is Yves Saint Laurent's Tuxedo. This was created by Juliette Caraguazugo. I have no idea how you say her last name. I will just put it somewhere so that I don't have to try again. But she created this fragrance, and it's definitely a big seller for Yves Saint Laurent, especially from their higher end collection. So this one is a patchouli scent. It's got this sort of slightly animalic, slightly salty ambergris with it, but nothing overboard. Like I would not consider this an animalic scent at all, but just gives it a little bit of like kind of allure and intrigue. Definitely would smell great on a man, but I think it smells great on me too. Has slight vanilla touches and even a bit of rose, sort of like this, I don't know, like almost like very, like I think of like a velvety kind of rose when I smell this. A little bit of spice, like a peppery kind of brightness to it, but all in all, again, I think this would be especially good for the earlier parts of fall. I think you could wear it in the winter too, to be honest, especially for something maybe a little bit more like formal. But if you want something deeper and cozier, you might need to look elsewhere because this doesn't, to me, feel like a very, very heavy patchouli, but it's a great patchouli fragrance nonetheless. So that is Tuxedo from Yves Saint Laurent. The first time I smelled number 9, I immediately knew I wanted it, and I also knew I wanted it specifically for fall, and that is Frassai Tiessendu. This was created by Roxanne Kirkpatrick, and it's just absolutely perfect for this upcoming time of year here, although right now it's still September and it's still very hot where I am. Oh, it's just perfect. It's perfect for fall. I get a lot of like this boozy, spicy sort of accord right away. it definitely has like this undercurrent of like a very soft leather, not maybe almost reminiscent of suede, but to me it's like just the softest like half skin leather you've ever felt. There's this sort of like foresty green vibe to it, but it's just like, I don't know, if you can picture yourself like sitting on the softest leather sofa in the middle of the woods, drinking some sort of like boozy, spicy, like hot cider kind of cocktail. That's what this is. That's what Tiessendu reminds me of. So if that sounds good to you, you should check this out. It's definitely, you know, a smaller brand. It comes from South America. So Frassai definitely has some great fragrances, but this one is my favorite of all. It's called Tiessendu. Number 8 is from a house that I very much appreciate. This is from Violet, and it is called Un Air d'Apogée. It's another tobacco scent on this list. And this one was created by one of my favorite perfumers, Natalie Lorson. Although I have a lot of favorite perfumers, but she's one of them. Anyway, so this is a thicker tobacco, not sweet. It's not a sweet tobacco, but this has some body to it. So Un Air d'Apogée is like this sort of woody tobacco, or it has like a hay-like quality. So I'm guessing that might come from vetiver. It's so nice. I think, again, I get sort of a leather vibe to this one. And it almost has a smell of like, not quite herbal, but something a little bit, like not medicinal herbal, but like actual like garden herbs is kind of what I get from this. So yeah, it's not overly dry, because sometimes like when you think of a hay note, it comes off as very dry. To me, maybe because of that herbal quality to it, it makes it slightly less dry, but definitely it's like this woody hay-like tobacco that jumps out at you with this fragrance. It's, in my opinion, fairly unique. I haven't come across anything that smells quite like it, and I definitely really enjoy wearing it. Again, actually, literally everything I've talked about so far, and will talk about, yes, looking at everything that I'm going to talk about, everything that I'm talking about today is definitely completely unisex. But this, again, I think would smell quite good on men. So that is Un Air d'Apogée from Violet. Next up in the number 7 spot, it is Plum and Cognac from Scents of Wood. This is an award-winning fragrance for good reason. It's not necessarily like a beast mode kind of fragrance. I hate that term anyway. But this doesn't last like a crazy long time on me. However, it is wonderful for the amount of time it does last. So this was created by Pascal Guerlain, and it almost has this like nutty quality to it. And I'm assuming it comes from whatever like kind of cognac barrels they aged it in. But you definitely get the boozy quality to the plum. And I would say there's like a little bit of maybe vetiver I can pick up in here as well. A little bit more traditional kind of, like if you just think of like, I'm thinking of vetiver that's in like Guerlain's vetiver. I think I can pick up hints of that. But overall, yeah, it's like this like slightly fruity. I mean, there's of course the plum, but maybe some other fruits. A little bit spicy, boozy. So good. Nutty sort of fragrance here. I really like it. I think it's great for fall, especially because it's not super heavy. So it has a lot of those scents or those notes that would carry well into the winter, but it's not as heavy and dense. So I think it's not overwhelming for if you do live somewhere where it's warmer in the fall. So definitely check out Plum and Cognac if you haven't already. Fantastic fragrance from Scents of Wood. In number 6, I have Maya Njie's Nordic Cedar. If you've watched my channel for a while, you might know that I particularly enjoy wearing this fragrance when I'm taking walks, when it's like brisk, not cold, but brisk. So definitely like a nice crisp fall day would be a good day for me to wear this out for a walk. It's very calming and sort of grounding is why I think I enjoy it for that very specific occasion. It's obviously cedar, and it does remind me of like being out in the woods. And it like very much reminds me of specifically the woods on a day that's, again, crisp, but it's not so late into the season that the things, like all the trees are dead. Like they're still aromatic. yeah, I really like this. So I would say in addition to the cedar, I can pick up a little bit of what I'm guessing is like this earthy, it smells like kind of earthy to me. So I'm guessing it's a patchouli there. And it has some musk to it as well, maybe a slight amberiness to it. But all in all, I mostly pick up, like I said, this sort of foresty, woody quality with like kind of the earth around it, just like as if you were in a forest. So Nordic Cedar, I love this one for my Njie. She did a great job on this. And actually, if you haven't checked out her fragrances, she's just, you know, an independent perfumer. She does sell samples. I can't remember everywhere off the top of my head that sells them right now, but you can get samples of these, and there are a few that I just think are fantastic. So check her out if you haven't already. Number 5 is one that I think some women might overlook only because of the name. This is Tom Ford's Fougere d'Argent. And this was created by Linda Song and Olivier Guillotin, I think is who created this one. But yeah, it's a fougere for sure. And I think a lot of times when women see that term, they think, oh, fougères are men's fragrances. That's not accurate. Anybody can wear what they want, of course. But I think this one especially is great for women, in my opinion. I think it's fine for men too. I think it's great for men. I think it would smell great on anybody. But if you're looking at, like if you are a woman who maybe hasn't found a fougere that you would like to wear and you haven't tried this, I would definitely recommend it. You get a lot of lavender and tonka, in my opinion. It's definitely woody still. Oh, it's so nice. I really love this. I would say there's a slight, very slight citrusiness in the opening. That kind of fades though. And overall, I would say if you're a lover of tonka and maybe like a little bit of like some sort of like sweet kind of spiciness to this, I'm not exactly sure what it is, then this might be a really good fougere option for you. And again, like I said, I wear it, I love it. Immediately, like the first time I smelled it, I was like, I need this. But I think this is definitely a fougere that many women can pull off. And in fact, might smell better on women. I don't know, probably smells great on guys too. Anyway, that is my number 5 pick. If you thought I could do a list without having an iris fragrance on it, you thought wrong. This is Carolina Herrera's Iris Empire. It is coming in at number 4, and this is definitely one of my favorite iris fragrances to wear in the fall and winter. I find it to be sexy. It is like this, it's gorgeous first of all, but it is this sort of sexy chocolatey kind of iris. Definitely leather in here, like almost like a suede leather in this case. And it's brown. I don't know why I have, like it's brown suede leather is what's in here. Some patchouli, I would say, slight touches of maybe some sort of like, not super sweet, but some sort of spice in here. It's so good. But yeah, like slightly dry, chocolatey, irisy, patchouli combo. It is wonderful. It is sexy. It is perfect for fall and winter. It definitely could be worn by men, but I think anybody would smell very attractive wearing Iris Empire. So that's my number 4 pick, and I think it is the only iris fragrance on this list. Shocking, right? But it's a great one. So if you're looking for a wintertime one, check that one out. All right, so I'm just sort of noticing that in addition to tobacco and tonka, which are favorites of mine for just all the time, but especially in the fall, apparently I also really like leather and suede in the fall, because the next fragrance, again, features a note of suede. This is Guerlain's Cuir Beluga. And the packaging doesn't look like this anymore. This is an old bottle, but I assume it's the same fragrance. I'm assuming it smells the same in the new packaging. I haven't smelled it yet in the new packaging. But this one, so if you're familiar with like Spiritueuse du Bleu Vanille, then you are familiar with the vanilla that is in here. I, of course, love Spiritueuse du Bleu Vanille. That's not on this list because it'll probably show up in my winter list, and it's also going to show up in another video that I'm doing soon. But for fall, I really like Cuir Beluga because it has that vanilla. And also I would say this one to me has like this sort of fluffy, but also slightly waxy vibe to it. But overall, if I were to tell you what this is, I would say it's a vanilla suede. It's what this smells like. But just this soft, luxurious, very, very divine vanilla suede fragrance. There's other things going on, sure, but those are the notes that stand out. And like I said, essentially, if you were to take Spiritueuse de Bleuvanille and add suede to it, that's basically what you would get here, in my opinion. Definitely the same accord, vanillic accord going on in this fragrance as that one. So yeah, this is, by the way, I didn't say it, but this is Terry Wasser, as you might expect, and it's from the Art and Materials collection. If you check it out now, it's, I think they're starting to sell 50 ml bottles, but maybe not. At first it was like 100 and 200 mils, and they're pricey. But I do really love this one. And a few, well, I love many from this line. I love Guerlain. Sorry. Anyway, that's number 3. Number 2 on the list is a Jean-Claude Elena creation. It is from Hermes, and it is Ambre Narguile. Before you lose your minds and ask, where's Angel Share? Because everybody knows I have an unhealthy obsession with that fragrance. It's not on this list. It's not. It's not going to be number 1. It's not going to be on here at all. Not because it isn't one of my favorite fall fragrances, but because if I were to pick between this and Angel Share for specifically the fall when it's still a bit warmer, I would go with the Hermes. In the winter, I would go with the Kilian. But they're similar. They're definitely similar. I would say this one's slightly lighter. And, you know, overall, maybe it's a little bit more refined, but that doesn't mean I necessarily like it more. Because like I said, I have a very unhealthy obsession with Angel Share. Oh, this is so good though. This is this ambery honeyed tobacco fragrance. And again, another tobacco fragrance on this list. Cinnamon is in here. Kind of smells like stewed cinnamony apples in a way. It's so good. It's so good, you guys. It's like hot apple cider, right? Like fall time hot apple cider. That's what this fragrance is. And I love it. It's really good. I don't have anything else to say about it. Love it. Okay, bye. Number 1 on my fall list is also the fragrance that if I were forced to pick a signature scent would be the one I would pick. This is from Dusita, and it is Issara. I freaking love this fragrance. So Issara and Spiritueuse de Bleuvanille are the only 2 bottles in my whole collection that I have backups of. Do I need backups of them? No. Not even close to out yet, but I just love them that much that I don't ever want to run out of them. They're ones I reach for frequently, and I've said this before, but this particular fragrance, Issara, if I were to like summarize or like pick a fragrance to represent my personality, for some reason this would be it. It's the one that feels like me the most, I guess. Anyway. It's so good. So this is a Passara Umavajani creation. She's, you know, the owner and perfumer for Dusita. And this is, again, sort of this woodsy outdoor kind of vibe, even though I'm not a woodsy outdoor person. I don't know why this fits me so well. But tonka-y sort of tobacco here. Definitely a hay-like quality to it almost. Or some sort of like woodiness. Again, probably like a vetiver that's causing that. I would say this one, it has that like sort of pine needle feel to it as well. Little bit of a tiny touch of salt, some musk. So maybe just kind of feels like those like woodsy, foresty, and tobacco scents on salty skin, right? Like that's kind of what it smells like to me. With tonka, of course, because yes, love it. If you haven't tried Dusita's fragrances, they are just beautifully created. I don't love every single one because she does these in very different styles. So just because you don't like one of them doesn't mean you won't like another. And I think, at least from the ones I've smelled, which is almost all of them, they're all really well-crafted fragrances, and it's just a matter of finding the one that fits you best. And for me, of course, it's Issara. I think it's a great choice for fall, but for you, it might be a different one. So definitely check out her fragrances if you haven't. I think they are worth the money based on the quality of the perfumery. So anyway, that's my number 1, and that is my fall list. I would love to hear what fragrances you're excited to wear this fall. Please leave me comments down below and let me know. I'm always looking for suggestions of new things to try, and especially, you know, because I do love fall scents, that would be excellent if you have one that you think I would enjoy that I haven't mentioned already. But otherwise, I hope you like this video. If so, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing if you haven't already. Be sure to hit that notification and subscription box thing down below, whatever, you know the drill. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.